Like always, today's episode is brought to you by our amazing sponsors: gluten-free diet water, premium junk clothing, Williamson wines, Good Dudes coffee. Gluten-free diet water. Stay hydrated with a refreshing twist. Perfect for those health-conscious listeners. Premium junk clothing. For those who love to express their unique style with high-quality fashion pieces. Visit premiumjunkclothing.com and use code EveryDayGSD15 at checkout. Williamson Wine, natural artisan wine from Napa and Sonoma. Good Dudes Coffee, veteran owned by former Navy SEAL Josh Bridges. Every cup is brewed with passion and dedication to quality. Visit their website at gooddudescoffee.com and use discount code EveryDayGSD10 for an exclusive offer. And also, don't forget to visit the Everyday GSD store at DarinBibeau.com for all your official Everyday GSD merchandise. And now, let's dive into today's episode. Welcome to the Everyday GSD Podcast. Today's special guest, Clark Crosser. Clark, I'm super excited about the show because so many things that you've got going on right now, and you've been getting shit done for a long time, and we've been friends for a while, and we've been talking about getting you on the show, and we're now in season 4, so I figured, we've got to GSD, we just got to get our schedules together and make it happen.
Yeah, we made it happen.
We made it happen. And I'm going to tell a little story in a little bit about when we all kind of started some projects together and how it kind of evolved. But you were an integral part of starting or helping start the Everyday GSD podcast. And you were actually also a guest for Justin, replacement for Justin. I don't want to say you replaced Justin, but Justin had a previous commitment. Was it 2 episodes or 1 episode?
It was 1 episode. It was
season 2, season 1.
It was the kid that does the dolphin diving machine.
Oh, yeah.
That was season 1, yeah.
Season 1. Yeah, that guy's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny. I just went back and was doing reels, and I wasn't at that episode. And so when I looked at that one, I was like, what was that one? Like, how did I not? But then I remembered. But yeah, that was a pretty good episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a cool dude.
And I think it's great today. We're obviously one of the sponsors that we already mentioned the sponsor at the beginning of the show, but we're drinking one of Sam Williamson's wines, the Atlas Peak, the Cabernet. So, and I think this tastes like beautifully silky.
Delicious stuff.
Sam's listening to this. He's like, don't say it's silky.
He wants to hear earthy.
Yeah, earthy. And yeah. And actually, he's getting married. We're headed to France for his wedding.
Oh, fun.
We're super excited. And I love his wife-to-be. She's awesome. Okay, so let me go over your, I'm going to call it.
Well, actually, we should plug her wellness line of, she sent a nice care package to Alyssa with all of her facial creams and all that.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so we'll put that up there so people can check that out.
Oh, yeah. And she sent us a thank you package, too, when they came to visit. It was awesome.
Skincare is important.
Yeah, skincare is important. That's why you look like you're 21 still.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so I'm going to go over some. I'm going to kind of throw this at a high level because your resume is actually way too long. Because if I just read everything that was originally on here, that would be the whole show. Because we like to try to keep it, respect your time. So you're the founder and producer and director of LDR Studios, which focuses on story-driven films and branded content. Your motto, success isn't a sprint, it's a marathon. You're also the producer, director, and editor of Blonde After Dark. You're the campaign manager for Tommy Baldwin Project. You're the producer of BAR, which is the abbreviation for Building a Refuge, which is an amazing nonprofit that helps individuals, men with mental health.
Yes.
I'm actually looking forward to being on that show. I should be on that show, I think, in a week or 2. We're trying to coordinate schedules right now. You are also you're also the MC at Soon to Be Legends. Entrepreneurial journey. You founded Indie Music Live. You champion local music. You're the former owner of Richland Home Company and Crosser Properties, which is actually mass builder.
Yeah. We did, a couple hundred houses a year.
Yeah, a couple hundred a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So lots of houses. Okay.
Yeah.
The next one is what I'm already laughing at because I read ahead. You're the former project service manager at Deluxe Homes, but you're also the former, I'm not even going to say this word because I'm going to call it a pizza tosser, but Justin, what is it called?
That would be a pizza YOLO.
You're a former pizza YOLO at Noble Romans, and we were joking about this because I said, so you made pizzas. You're like, no. I was a pizza flipper?
Yeah, yeah.
And you
A tosser.
a tosser.
You toss the pizza.
And you were good at it because it was, you said what, you were up to like 24-inch pizzas or something?
It was the Maximus pizza, so it was 24 inches. So when it's laid out, it's 24 inches.
Yeah. And that's a skill.
It's a big pizza.
It's a big pizza. You're a former professional jet ski racer, which I love. You're one of the early snowboarders in the scene, back in the scenes in the 1980s, which I appreciate that because I'm an early snowboarder too. We had some great stories talking about that. Lifelong creative. You always have a camera in your hand. I've never been to an event where I didn't see you either taking pictures because you wanted to or videoing something. Or they were paying you to be there.
Yeah.
Education. You studied in IU, Indianapolis. What is it?
Vincent's University.
Okay. And then you also graduated from Carmel High School. You currently live in Carmel, and you love Carmel just like myself. And I'm going to wrap it up with this.
Vincent's is where I learned to break dance.
Oh, okay. I was a little break dancer myself. Jonica's going to listen to this. She's like, oh, God, he can't dance. So you're a wild man turned world-class storytelling, a team leader, and a relentless creative force. Okay, let's just dive into your journey, man. I've got so much I want to talk about, but I want to back it up to you got out of the housing business around 2008 because obviously that's when the housing market crashed. But let's talk about you growing up as a kid, how you even got into that business. Because I think that I'm going to make an assumption. I think you learned a lot of discipline that pushed your drive to become one of the top home builders in the United States.
Well, my dad, I got to see the American dream happen like in my house, and my dad's the one that did that. That was his legacy. And then, the little stuff we did was all the extra stuff.
Right.
But he was the driving force behind that. And that's pretty incredible to watch, starting from building 40 houses to being like the 9th largest home builder in the country.
It's huge.
That's huge. Yeah.
Yeah. Especially when you start talking about the housing market, when it's booming. I mean, the neighborhoods are just popping up everywhere. And you guys were building like hundreds of houses at a time.
Thousands
a year.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's wild.
So what was it like growing? That's when you lived in Indiana during this time?
Lived in Carmel. Actually graduated right up here, Carmel High School at
Nice.
84. We had our 40th anniversary last year. So
Not that I'm dating you or myself, but you don't seem that age.
I know. Thank you. That's because of my skincare products.
Yeah, because the skincare products. Okay, so you're around 2008. Let's just jump from is there something that you want to share between you growing up that kind of helped get you where you are today, or you wanted to? Because you got a lot of things going on right now, and I don't want to miss anything. So I'd like to talk about where you are in the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
But if you want to discuss anything that you think that got you there, let's dive into it. I think the audience would love to hear.
Well, I think doing the jet ski racing in particular was I don't know. I've always jumped into the community kind of stuff. So you're all in it together, and you do competition against each other. But at the end of the day, you go to the bar and get hammered. And
Yeah.
And jet skiing was like one of the most amazing communities that I first got involved with, other than the Grateful Dead. That's
Yeah.
a whole other thing. But,
Yeah. Actually, that'd be a whole nother show.
But it was just a challenging sport, and you learned how to fix your motor, and you go race every weekend in the summer, and man, I miss that stuff.
I mean, it's a solo sport, but it's a team sport.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, we were Team Indy, so we had like 5 guys that would travel around together and kind of help each other and practice together.
Right.
It was a awesome point in my life, and I think what it taught me is like the adversity in life. Man,
Yeah.
keeping your jet ski running, on a weekly basis just so you can practice or go to an event.
And when you say jet ski, is jet ski the brand or
jet ski, the stand-up versions,
Right.
which were
Yeah.
Kawasaki's to begin with.
Right.
That's where the origin was, like the 550 Kawasaki.
So how fast are you cruising?
Like 45 to 47 miles an hour with like in the limited. And then if you did the modified, you're going way faster. It's too expensive to be modified.
That's cruising on the water.
Yeah, you're fine. Yeah, 18-inch plate, basically. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, you're really whipping. I mean, now that you can buy a jet ski off the shelf that does like 80
Oh,
knots.
yeah, they're insane now.
Yeah.
I'm afraid of them.
Yeah. But you're just out there. now someone's just out there cruising on it, like going super fast.
Right.
But like when you're racing, you're like you're neck and neck with someone.
Oh yeah, the whole shot's what they call it when they snap the band and you all hit your throttle, but that first buoy, everybody, you're going as fast as you can and colliding with everybody in that first turn. It's crazy.
So you when did you stop doing that? You finished that
Back in '96.
Okay, so you finished that, and then you're into the housing construction world. When did you get into this creative space that you're in now that you dominate? And how's my sound, Justin? I feel like I was just a little off.
No, you sound great.
Thank you. How do I look?
You look great.
You guys both look good today.
Thank you.
It's skincare, baby.
Skincare and the lighting.
It's a skincare and the lighting. Yeah. So like I said, I mean, you master the creative space, and I know that from I've been to your studio. LDR Studios is, I will arguably say, one of the nicest studios, first of all, that I've ever been in the Midwest.
Oh, thank you.
But I also think probably one of the nicer studios. We went out and did, I forget what season it was. We did a season in Hollywood, or we did Hollywood and Vegas as one season. And, we instead of bringing our travel studio, we ended up renting some studios out there for ease of carrying stuff. And I was expected to see these like amazing like LDR Studios, and now LDR is like, it's like one of a kind, man. It's awesome.
Thank you so much.
And we can talk. Let's talk about LDR because we're on it right now, and we'll jump around a little bit. But like LDR Studios, like what do you guys do there? What do you have in there? You have everything.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're a multimedia center now, and we work with a lot of different creatives, mostly musicians right now, but other filmmakers, and we've had some in-house actual artists in there, but corporate gigs and podcasts. I've shot over 50 podcasts, probably over 50 music videos. Started live streaming. That's what that Indie Music Live was during COVID, so we could do fundraisers for this thing called Concerts for a Cause, and the money went to the food workers. I think we raised like $10,000 over that period. But I just got one of those Slingbox stream things and was able to live stream them bands playing live at the studio.
So I'm going to back it up real quick because this is funny, and Justin knows this story, and Justin's heard it a million times, but I know the listeners had it. So you and I were sitting at a local restaurant in town here in Carmel called Savor, one of the places that we frequently go to. There's a few awesome places, Anthony's Chop House, Monterey. There's a lot of great places, but Savor's one of the places that we would go to. And I was sitting there, and we were talking about starting the Everyday GSD podcast, and you were starting Soon to Be Legends. Am I correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And we would go back and forth, and I'd see you on the weekend. We'd be working, traveling, doing our thing, and we'd meet up, and you kept saying to me, he's like, how's it coming? I was like, we're moving along. What about you? He's like, we're moving along. And then the goal was, I wanted to start before you just out of principle because I was just trying to be faster than you, and you were doing the same thing. But at the same time, we weren't GSDing to put it together. And then finally you reached out to me and said, hey, you want to be on my show? I was like, you already started. So the Everyday GSD podcast ended up starting like 2 weeks later or something. Yeah. It was shortly after that. But one of the things I think is funny is when we were sitting there and I was ordering stuff for the studio, and obviously Justin knows how to do all this stuff, and Justin had his whole list of stuff that we were ordering. We're getting stuff in, and then you said to me, you're like, you should just duplicate everything so when you travel, you don't have to take it apart. And Justin, being the money-conscious person on the team, he was like, that's a waste at this point, Darin, because he's probably thinking, like, this might last 2 months, and you might not be any good at it, or you might not like it. And you and I were like, I don't want to pack any of this stuff up. So I went and I doubled everything.
Invest in yourself, man.
Invest in yourself, right? And I remember him just being like, why did you do that? And you and I were cutting the foam before he came over just so it'll be all ready for him. But he's happy now, right, Justin?
It's great. It worked out great. I appreciate it. Having to not tear it down and set it up every time we travel is nice.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And you were talking about, because we travel quite a bit with this show, but you were talking about traveling. You've been quite a few places now.
Well, the cool travel one we did, I mean, we do it all in-house except for we went to Franklin, Tennessee, and it was during Nashville's CMA festival, so the place was just swarmed with people. But we went down to Franklin and filmed
Franklin, Tennessee?
Franklin, Tennessee, and shot at Mercy Me Studios, which is the big Christian band And
Okay.
the prior owners of that were like Motley Crue, and they recorded one of their albums there.
I have a good friend that lives there. Tommy Nelms. Shout out to Tommy Nelms. Franklin. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good place.
Yeah. It's
Pretty.
I was like, it's
Pretty down
it's
there.
beautiful. It's beautiful down there.
And country girls are wild, right? Like downtown Nashville on the weekend.
Oh, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But that whole place has changed so much,
Yeah.
right?
But so we did this went there, shot a podcast, then hung out in Nashville.
Okay.
And the Building of Refuge guys went down there. So there was like 10 of us that kind of just all went down and bonded. And Kyle Lamb was the guy that we interviewed, which was the guy that
Yeah, Black Hawk Down,
Black
right?
Hound, yeah,
Black Hawk Down, yeah.
incredible guy. And so I learned a little bit when we had our conversation with him, and he, finished the mission. That was his big thing. And right. So like as part of building the studio and doing this thing with Tommy Baldwin, like that pops into my head to get this done. It's a lot of work. And sometimes you got to do shit on your own.
Yeah.
And it gets lonely out here, but,
he says it's lonely on top. Is that what you're going to say?
Don't I know?
no, it's like, oh man, sometimes you're looking for a hand, but you just suck it up. And,
Yeah.
and like my dad would always say, nobody ever said it was going to be easy, Clark. So that kind of shit kind of keeps me inspired and moving forward. And
I mean, it's a great statement if you think about it. Because if it was easy, everyone would do it.
exactly.
Right?
Right.
I mean, there's such a, and I'm not a stats guy. I always joke. I got a good friend named Mark Stoner. We joke about whenever someone says like 30% and I'm always like approximately, because I think percents are kind of like it's a loose number, but there's a huge percent of people that just show up to work, but really don't go to work. You know what I mean? And if you show up and actually do what you're supposed to do, you'll be that much better than everyone else. And I talk about this in sales all the time. Just show up. You're going to beat the guy next to you or the girl next to you. Put in the work.
Yeah. And like when I was building out the audio side of the studio,
You were working 7 days a week, 12 hours a day.
oh yeah. But when my feet hit the floor every morning for like 3 months, it felt like Christmas morning, because I got to go over there and like convert this empty space that was really nothing into like what was all coming out of my head.
Yeah. And then you grew into a total, you now have, I guess it'd be 3 blocks, right? 3, because originally you had 1, or is it 2 big ones now?
Well, it's like 2. It was like 1,600 square foot times 2 now. So
Yeah.
I was able to expand into doing audio.
That's 32, if anyone wants to know.
Yeah. And, we're in February, we recorded a couple albums out of there, Tommy Baldwin's being one of them, and a band called Naptown Hepcats. So it's like an old new adventure of, I've never recorded albums and what it takes to get it out and do their show, promote it and do shows and get gigs around town. Like booking is like a nightmare.
Oh, it's yeah. We were talking about that the other day when you were trying to, were you going to the Vogue? Was that where you had?
Yeah, we got the Vogue landed. So,
But you had to go in there like bang on the door.
Yeah, nobody would answer.
Yeah.
Well, I think the best way to describe it is you got to go kick the fucking doors in,
Yeah. Yeah, they're not going to open for you.
No.
Yeah.
So it's been fun finding out like how to navigate all this shit,
So do you want to talk about Blonde After Dark, or do you want to jump into the Tommy project?
We're still actively, you know how Mackenzie's like so busy, it's hard to get her down.
Oh, she was on. Yeah, and that was your connection. You got her on the show. Corey Sleet, who was a guest on the show, which was an excellent episode. I feel like that was season 1, but I keep saying they're all season 1. Justin knows when they really were. But at the same time you were connecting me with Mackenzie, he was doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And he said, just so you know, she's always traveling. She's always gone. She's overseas or she's in Chicago because she's promoting stuff.
Yeah.
And you said the same thing. And then you sent me a text, and I'm making this up, but you were like, hey, she's available Wednesday. And he sent me a text, she's available Wednesday. I was like, oh, we're not in town. We ended up moving our schedule. But that's how we ended up getting her on the show. But that was a great episode.
Yeah, I love her because she's just so positive.
Yeah.
Awesome to work with. And pro level.
Yeah.
Total pro level.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And so how long has that show been going on for now?
Well, we're not that deep into, it's mostly off. We've done maybe 5 episodes.
Right.
And I think Friday, when this
airs.
last Friday.
Yeah.
We're shooting some content.
Nice.
And I think she's in town more from now, through the summer.
And you're also a content creator, right?
Oh yeah. I've created a bunch of music videos and, used to do these 48-hour film festivals, which were kind of interesting. And
Indy 500?
Ed Carpenter Racing, I got to be, I was on pole day at the very...
You were there.
I was in front of the NBC camera, and my friends were like, dude, are you...
Yeah.
So I had like the hard card, so you can jump over every fucking wall and like run to where all the good shit's going on.
I remember I think we were there, and I sent you a text, and then you took a picture, sent me the picture, and it was you
Connor was on the team.
hanging over the track with the cars going. I was like, oh, you got a little bit better seat than I do.
Yeah, it finally happened. I tried to get media credentials out there for 20 years and never... But I finally got out there on the track and got...
But isn't that the everyday GSD way, right? So, I mean, that's a perfect example. 20 years you were trying to get media credentials, and finally you keep kicking the door. You keep kicking the door. You keep kicking the door, and finally the door busts open. You're like, here I am.
Yeah, I got to wear one of those... I'm not a Canon guy, but I had to wear a Canon vest, which is pretty cool, which means I had access to everywhere on the speedway, basically.
Right. So anyone from Canon listening to this...
I'm an Icon guy.
Okay, so the Icon guy wants to donate equipment to you, right?
Nikon, yeah.
What is it, Nikon?
Nikon, yeah.
So that's why Justin's here. I don't know any of that.
Canon.
Are you a Canon guy?
I'm a Canon guy.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. So what's the difference between the two? I know this has nothing to do with the show, but I'm just curious.
For me, it was the preference of, because it's the camera I first used and I like it, and it's evolved into something really super sweet. I got a Z9 and it's just a fucking monster camera.
And you?
It's a Ford Chevy argument, really.
Oh, okay. Is it?
It really is.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Are your Canon doesn't start sometimes?
I don't have that problem. Oh, that's why I get it. I see what you did there.
I see what you did there. So you've got another episode of Blonde After Dark, and then, but right now your biggest thing besides, and I'm gonna, because obviously your charitable work is huge, and I want to talk about Building Refuge, but I don't want to go there yet. Right now, it's the Tommy Baldwin Project. Is that what we're calling it, Tommy Baldwin Project?
Yeah, it's we recorded an album, 13 songs. Doug Pennick from King's X flew in to be on it. And
Tommy was on the show. I mean, his stories are crazy.
Yeah,
The story was amazing.
And he and I have bonded. I think kind of like I lost my son like 5 years ago, and he lost his dad, and I was his dad's age, basically, maybe a little younger.
And he lost his dad when he was like
10.
Young. Yeah,
and we kind of filled the void of like those missing elements in our lives. So it's been fun. Like, I want to see him succeed because
he's so talented.
And he's just a beautiful, beautiful human being.
Yeah. So what are you guys doing right now?
Well, the album's being mixed. Tommy, you mixed down today?
It's Tommy. Tommy, are you working?
And then, so as part of that, we got to finish it, get it mastered, get it off the press, get the stuff back before the May 30th show. The album release party is going to be at the Vogue May 30th. So.
Okay, and this show will come out on the 15th. So,
yep.
Obviously, our shows come out on the 1st and 15th of every month, but this one will be out on the 15th. So that'll give 15 days of people. Yeah. So, but you had some pretty special guests coming to town, because I know, because I ended up meeting one individual, and I never know anyone's name, but I remember when Dave, one of the managers at Savor, came over. Bartender, he's awesome. He came over and he asked me, "Do you know who that is?" And I said, "No." And he told me, and I'll have you tell the story after this. And then he said, "He's with Clark and Tommy." And I said, "Go over and introduce yourself." He's like, "Oh, he's my idol since he was a kid." Right. And he was all nervous to go over and introduce himself. And I go, "It's Clark. Just go over." And he went over there. Next thing you know, he's taking pictures with you guys, and it was great. I felt like I was excited for him.
Yeah.
And who was that?
That was Doug Pennick. He was in a band called he's still in a band called King's X, but they were like a power trio from the late 80s, early 90s. Progressive rock, I guess you'd call it, right?
Justin?
Yeah,
Progressive rock?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you ever play with him, Justin?
I did not, no.
No, okay, I don't know.
Anyway, cool cat. He's like 78. He flew into town.
He was 78?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Be on Tommy's. I mean, that's why I thought, if we don't do this with Doug
Now,
next year you're not going to have that opportunity. So that I guess I was the driving force on like making this album, like to start it up. And Tommy's been working hard, like writing and mixing and, perfecting the sound.
and plus, while you're doing all of this work and he's doing all this work, he's still performing in town everywhere.
Yeah. We got some good shows booked for him though that are not just bar gigs. So
Right.
our goal would be like to get him on a leg of a tour next year, like Samantha Fish or Kenny Wayne Shepherd or
Right.
something like that,
Now, is he ready to go? Because didn't he tour years ago out in California?
Well, he's basically Doug Pennick kind of mentored him for quite a few years, and
like years ago.
yeah, like when he was 19. So he's played with everybody, because of Doug Pennick's connections.
Let's talk about, just so for the audience, talk about who Doug Pennick is.
Well, Doug Pennick's
And for Darin.
a bass player. He's a bass player, King's X. For me, he's got really unorthodox way of playing bass because he plays like way down by his knees and stuff. So, and he's got a great voice. So like, I met him. Tommy and I went out to NAMM, I met him out there, but he was out there to record on Doug's album, which started this whole.
And this is how long ago?
This was NAMM last year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So all these elements like keep popping up. So yeah, so I said, fuck it, like Tommy, let's do this shit, and now we're doing it.
And Tommy GSDs, but in a different way, right? You got to stay on Tommy.
Tommy needs to focus on writing the music and perfecting the sound, and then that's what I think. If we take some of that stuff away from him, he'll be able to. He's a great songwriter.
Oh, he's an amazing musician, but I feel like he was kind of doing everything by himself. So therefore he wasn't able to kind of take it to the next level because he was.
I think I'd call it moving laterally too much and just doing the loop of the bars that pay you,
because he needs that income.
He needs to get paid the value of what he's a badass guitar player and not many people play like him. Doug Pennick said he was one of the best guitar players he's ever played with, and that's his quote.
Yeah.
And I've recorded that too, by the way.
Nice. And didn't he, is he like one of very few people that was able to play Jimi Hendrix tribute because.
Yeah, he played on the Jimi Hendrix Experience with Doug Pennick. And,
yeah.
So this is kind of morphed into Tommy's got so much music that we're going to probably do a volume 1 and a volume 2. Release the other volume at the end of the year.
Okay.
Like Octoberish.
And then does he write his own music?
Yeah, he writes his own music, but so like the plan would be Ray Lazier from Korn and Phil X, who's Bon Jovi's old guitar player, to track on volume 2. And maybe Doug Pennick some more.
Right. Now this is going to be a weird question and forgive me the way I'm going to ask it because I don't know how to articulate it. So did you have any experience in this music side of the business before?
Just going to shows, watching how people set up and the lighting arrangements and hearing the sound and where the best place to stand in the building is.
Right.
Just mostly just my love for music and the joy you get when you go watch a badass show.
And then you took that love and then your business skills and put them together and said, let's do this, Tommy.
Yeah.
Because Tommy obviously
Tommy needs somebody to help.
Yeah,
him.
he needs.
I'm going to fill that role for the time being.
Right.
Until we finish. I mean, it's a big undertaking. If we do 30 songs on 2 albums, it's a lot of mixing.
Yeah. And you guys will be recording sometimes 2-3 in the morning.
Oh yeah. Oh, dude, and I'll tell you a story. Like,
that's why we're here, Clark.
This will all loop around.
That's why we're here.
So the first day, Doug's in town, and I kind of funded Doug coming in town. So I've got a little bit of financial interest in this and whatnot. But Doug and Tommy get it together, and they're disagreeing, and this is the unfun side of rock and roll. So they're beefing. In the first day, we only got like 1 song recorded. So right out of the gate, you're stressed because you're like, I I thought we'd be 3 or 4 songs in, and then
Right.
the tensions are high and people are trying to just work creatively
Is
together.
it egos or what is it?
No, I think it's like finding where creatively they're going to join forces, and that you get pushed back to like, I want to help you make this great. Let me do this part of it, but.
And you also have a guy that's in his 70s, another guy in his 20s.
And they're writing songs like sitting there together. They're writing bridges and melodies, so they're actually creatively challenging each other, I guess.
Right. Yeah.
Which kind of turns a little sour, and had to break everybody apart. And Tommy's upset because it's not going perfectly at the time. And and I grabbed him and I go, finish the mission. And I pulled that whole thing from Kyle Lamb.
Yeah.
And Tommy goes, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Because he was there. Tommy.
It was like a...
Yeah. So, yeah. And the next day we crushed it and recorded like 5 songs.
Is that the night I saw you guys maybe?
Yep. That was, we were celebrating.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Because we all got along.
And
I tell you that story because
no, it's great.
Nobody ever said it was going to be easy. And so I embraced the challenges of the madness,
And I think that's important to say, and I'm probably going to have you repeat it, that no one ever said it's going to be easy, because, again, if it was easy, everyone would do it, man.
Right.
Right? Your dad said it wasn't going to be easy.
Yep.
You got to get up and you got to tie your shoes and run.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yep.
I like that one too.
Yeah, tie your shoes and run. Yeah, that's from that was from when we were in Colorado, from an actual unknown Uber driver. We never got his name. We tried to figure it out because I wanted to give him credit, because he when we first got in the car, and people have heard this story a few times, I'm sure, but when we first got in the car, he was kind of standoffish with us, and I think he might have thought it was like political, because what we were talking about, but we were not talking about politics. We were actually talking about literally the podcast and some guests that were going to be on the show, and then somehow we just started talking to him, and then he interjected, and then he kind of got involved, almost like he was on our show. And that's when he said, you just got to tie your shoes and run. Just do it. And I really, that one hit home. That was a good one. But so Tommy's
He'll be in book 2.
He'll be in book 2.
He'll be in book 2.
Yeah. So our second book's coming out here real soon. It won't be out by the time your show comes out, but we're getting close.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a lot of we're calling it like a table. What do you call it?
Coffee table book.
Coffee table book. So you can actually open it from any page. It's not a story from page 1 to the end. So it's about the guests that were on the show, and some, like, I'll call them life lessons, but there's probably a better terminology about it. What we're doing is we're taking some of the information that they shared with us, and then we're putting into the book. So when people can open the book and go, you know what, that hits home with me. I love music. I'm going to turn to chapter 82 with Clark, because I feel like I might be able to get something from him. They listen to the show, now they come back and they can read it, and yeah, so we're really excited about that. That's going to be out, I'll say soon.
Soon.
We got a lot of projects in here, but we're GSDing.
And that's kind of the building refuge. And when I did the Soon to Be Legends, it's all these human stories that, like, man, I've just enjoyed, like, I'd say intimately meeting somebody just by having an intense hour conversation with them. Like, it's fun.
Do you want to talk about building refuge now? Or not yet?
We can go any direction you want.
Hey, man, it's your show. It's your show. No, actually, I'm enjoying talking about Tommy and the Tommy Baldwin project. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've got the show coming up in May 30th.
Yeah, it will be an album release show.
Yep.
And it's, a venue that holds 12,000 or 1,200 people.
Yeah. And it's a famous venue.
And it's a very nice venue, and Tommy's never played there, and it took a lot of work to even get them to get the attention of them and to get in there.
And what for those people who are listening that want to listen to Tommy, where can they buy a record or a CD?
It's going to be TommyBaldwinMusic.com, and he's got a brand new website that our buddy Mike Parsons built. It's very nice, and it looks. We're ready to roll. We're ready to see him launch.
And if you were to put, what kind of genre is he?
Blues, rock.
Yeah, okay. Because people ask me, what's Tommy play? I go, the guy can play anything.
He plays some jazzy stuff when he does his solo stuff, but
I
mean, I think it's all going to morph in like a 4-piece band. It was a trio for a while.
Yeah, it was his mom.
His mom is she did key bass for the trio, but now a guy's been added. It's a bass player, so she's just going to do the keys now.
Okay.
Actual keys, like it
Nice.
sounds fuller. The songs sound a lot fuller.
Right.
Yeah, good stuff.
It's
I mean,
actually-
it's fun stuff watching Tommy develop and like, you know.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, the guy, what the guy's name? I just spaced it. Sorry, 78 years old.
Doug Pennick.
Doug Pennick, 78 years old, and Tommy's in his 20s.
Yep.
So we're talking about 50 years of Doug Pennick being out there.
Yeah, doing it every day.
Yeah.
The grind. Yeah.
Yeah. Someone made a comment to me recently, and it was about Joe Rogan. When's your podcast going to be as big as Joe Rogan? I said, how long Joe Rogan's been at all of this, not just the podcast, all of this. Let's go back to Fear Factor, people.
Right.
Oh, way before that, news radio.
That's what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
we can go way back. So, he didn't just all of a sudden, he just didn't have this extremely popular podcast. He's been building this foundation in the first floor and the second floor. And now he's in the penthouse,
Oh yeah.
and success didn't happen overnight. He busted his ass,
Yeah.
whether you like him or not.
And he
doesn't
took
matter.
chances and he did
Yeah.
things he wasn't comfortable doing. And,
Yeah.
a lot of people get afraid of those things that it holds them back.
Yeah. And we got stats on the last time we got our analytics. We were, at the time, it's more than that now. We were downloaded in over 19 countries, and we were top 35% of the podcasts in the world.
Yeah, that's wild because
Yeah.
Byron and I would look at some of the statistics, and
Yeah.
it'd be like somebody in Denmark watch every episode. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. It's great.
so far.
It's like however they found it, or
Yeah.
someone shared it. Maybe they have a relative in the U.S., or they just happen to be YouTube put it to the top, or Spotify, or who knows.
That was the highlight of Soon to Be Legends. We got to Denmark.
It was
we were
probably someone that wanted to hear my episode.
Yeah, well, we were a little foolish. We did it once a week, so
Yeah.
we did 16 episodes, which we kind of blew our load in 16 weeks, and
Yeah.
could have spread it out 32 weeks.
Yeah. Well, we like the 1st and 15th, and when we originally started the show, I wanted to do it because in the military, that's when you get paid, 1st and 15th of every month.
Yeah, yeah.
And I wanted my buddies to be able, when they're like, "Hey, when's your next episode come out?" It's like payday, bro.
But booking
It's simple. It's payday.
is a pain in the ass.
Yeah. I mean, easy like
Who
yeah.
does your booking?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Especially when you're all set up and ready to go, and they're like,
So,
"Oh,
I
I
mean-
can't make it."
Yeah, like when you're a 2-man team, it's too much work. You gotta have you gotta add 5 people or
Yeah. Fortunately, we have a really good team, and Justin's put a good team together. Justin, we get to hear his voice every once in a while. I used to call him Google over there because he always has all the answers, but I feel like we don't have a lot of questions for him lately, so we got to get back to questions for Justin.
I'll think of one.
Yeah, I'll think of a really good one. I like to stump him.
I
but-
came up with the
Yeah,
the
he
pizza
knew-
you blah, blah, blah,
Yeah,
blah,
yeah.
blah,
I was like, you knew how to, you know
pizza
what,
YOLO.
you know what the pizza flipper was called, but not just a regular pizza flipper, a 24-inch pizza flipper.
That's right.
And how old were you then? About 18, 19 years old?
18
Yeah, that's great.
every Friday night. So
How old were you when you first started working?
I had a paper out in 6th grade.
6th grade.
Yep.
See the trend here, anyone listening, the everyday GSD lifestyle. You got to get up and do it. You start young.
Yeah, the morning paper too. So you got to get up at 5:30.
Yeah.
Go out and be done before school.
And you would do that in the winter?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, my mom kind of helped me on the rainy days. Like,
Well, yeah, I mean, you're a little kid.
I had a BMX.
I was gonna say, did you have
and
the
I
BMX
was
bike?
Yeah, I had a BMX and the Sunday
paper bag
paper.
over-
I bet you probably had a mongoose though, or something.
I did have a mongoose.
Yeah, I figured he would.
Did you put your paper bag over the front handlebars?
Yeah.
Well, and then the back bag on Sundays would drag and hit your tire, so it was super hard to pedal.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to put little playing cards in my spokes, so it sounded like a little motorcycle. My Harley sounds better than that now, though. I know this is not part of the show, but I do want to talk about your car real quick, the new car that you just got.
Oh yeah, the A8.
Yeah, this
S.
thing is sick, man. And I know that's nothing to do with the show, and we can cut this out after or not. I don't really care. But tell me about this car, dude.
Well,
This is my shiny object ADD moment.
The old A8 I had was like having some issues, and long story short, warranty covered a $42,000 engine failure. So
$42,000 engine failure.
failure.
Did you hear that, Justin?
I don't even want to think about that.
Yeah.
yeah, brutal. But it was warranted, so I kind of laughed. But in the interim, I've been having some issues, so I was like,
We're gonna have to put a picture of his car up when we talk about this, because this car's sick, dude.
My brother-in-law works at Audi, and I been kind of thinking I should just get one with full miles, and then I don't have to worry about shit for 5 years. But he found that up in Chicago, and I was like, the black on black and black is hard to find. Like, I think you got to send those off to get custom made.
I hadn't seen this car before.
Yeah, it's insane. It's beautiful. It's went down to see Patrick Stone in Florence, Indiana.
Yeah,
and man, it was a 2.5 hour drive. It was awesome.
Yeah. And the music, you're probably just
I'm just jamming
when I saw you at the VFW, the Carmel Veterans of Foreign War right here in town, I saw the car, and I got out of the car, and I was like, who's that? Because you were backing out, and I went up to the window because his windows are all dark, and he rolls down. He goes, oh, what's going on? I was like, when did you get this? It's like, yesterday.
Going gangster. I'm going full gangster in this town, man. So I have,
Okay, let's get back on track, because if not, we're going to go down a car road. Where was I? I lost my train of thought. We were talking, you were flipping pizzas, your jet ski racer, your earlier adopter of snow. You want to talk about snowboarding?
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, why not?
What a big part. That's a huge part of my life.
Yeah, let's not leave that out.
I started like in 87 or something. I didn't buy it. Saw like a board in the corner. Right. It was a Sims board, I think.
Sims, yeah.
And then
should have been Brad Burton, bro.
And then what the hell were those boots that before they got built boots for snowboarding? You just use like shitty ass boots lined with
Sorel.
Sorels.
Yeah,
I think that's what I had.
And the inner liner was like wool thickness.
Yeah, it was brutal.
It was awful. And they're like rubbery because they're like supposed to be like waterproofish, but then when you strap in, like your feet would just die.
Oh yeah, they were horrible. So like I went there to ski, saw this thing, rented it. The first days, like pain, body slamming your head, wrist, ass,
elbows, shoulders, chin.
But the second day, it's like I started getting it down, and then like 4 days into it, I'm like, oh shit, I can launch now. And like I picked up on it really quickly. And I'd say skiing is a more technical sport, and I thought I was like an intermediate like skier, but man, I just blew past all my skier friends. Like, I, with the broader base, you just you just haul ass, dude.
I say the same thing about skiing.
I like the tree skiing the best, though.
Oh yeah, like, the glades.
Well, inside where the snow's soft still, you know.
But it's funny because you're an Indiana person, so that means you're traveling every time you want to go.
Oh yeah, it's been Summit County and Vail. Like I went my senior break when everybody went to Florida. Me and my buddy Mark Miller went to Vail, Colorado.
Yeah,
and skied. So I've been going out there ever since '84. With intermittent things with being married and having kids, kind of take those opportunities away.
Yeah,
but great. I think I'm closing in on 800,000 vertical feet. I calculated by the days I've been on the mountain.
God, I don't even know. I mean, now it's all on the Vail app.
So like the Vail, app. If you do I do Vail almost every year.
I say Vail. Vail owns everything now, right?
Yeah, but if you go from the top to the bottom, that's huge. I didn't count Michigan, really. Sorry, Michigan.
Southern Indiana.
Sorry, Michigan.
Yeah.
That's just, I found, and I spent some time in Santa Fe, but the Rockies, the Rockies are the best place to snowboard. I would
always tell people, and it's so funny because if you're a snowboarder, you don't like to hear this, and if you're a skier, you don't like it. So basically no one likes this statement, but to be a good skier, you have to put in a lot of time. I learned to ski really quick. Brian Chalette was the one who taught me. When we have him on the show, we mentioned him on a previous show, but when he'll explain how that happened, it's kind of a funny story because I was a hockey player, so I learned how to ski pretty quick with him. But if you want to be a good skier, you got to go all the time.
Yeah.
And then snowboarding, you go the first day. If you've never snowboarded before, even if you were a skateboarder or a surfer, I can do all that. But
it's a day of pain.
It's a day of pain. And so most people, if they don't understand, like you just have to put up with it. You just have to get past that because then day two, you're gonna get that one little curve, and you'll practice that, and then you
start feeling it.
You start feeling a little better. Then you get a little comfortable, and then you can kind of curve to the right.
Yeah. Well, then get a rhythm going. So put your headphones on.
Yeah. And so I think by day 3, you're actually enjoying the mountain, as opposed to if you're just learning how to ski, you're like, geez, this is my feet hurt and I've got to walk around all weird at the bar.
So like 10 years into like learning snowboarding and being out in Colorado all the time, like I knew Vail like the back of my hand. So when it would snow, I'd know where the pouches were, you know. Man, Vail's like, for me, one of the, and I haven't gone all over the world or anything, but Vail was like home always because it just was awesome.
Do you have an Epic Pass still or no?
No.
Yeah.
No.
No.
But it's like fucking $500 a day out there now, right?
They're so expensive. But an Epic Pass is great because you can go to all these mountains. And Epic and the other one's Icon, I think. They're the competitor now.
I need to get back out there and take my son, Mark, and teach. Like, it'd probably take me a week to get back on track and not, feel pain for muscles being all fucked up. But then I'd be ripping. Maybe
we make a trip this next winter, Justin. The Everyday GSD podcast.
Yeah,
we can go out and maybe get Scott back on the show. Scott
I need
Nero.
to go out there a few times before then, so I get dialed in.
No, you'll be fine. Yeah, you'll be fine. You'll pick right up.
I'm worried about the muscle thing.
Yeah, nah, you're good. We'll do it. Come work out with me a couple times in the morning. You'll be
row the boat.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
Okay.
Let's talk about Soon to Be Legends. You started that podcast about the same time we started, but then you put that on hiatus because you basically got involved with BAR, which stands for Building a Refuge.
Building a Refuge, yeah.
So you want to just go right into building a refuge?
Yeah, like but I would say like the serendipity of how we met, like the tragedy in my life I would have never met Brandon if something like that didn't happen. So, and I don't know how you explain this. It's the craziest 2 years of my life. Like somebody you don't know and you stumble across them. And after losing Adam, I'd been talking to Tim here in town about like doing something significant to kind of share a story of tragedy and overcoming tragedy.
Right.
And I had a tragedy, and I thought it was kind of a mission for me to not let Adam's passing
go in vain.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So all I know is here today we've shot over 35 podcasts, and it's all because I kind of took a leap of faith because of a tragedy I had in my life.
Right.
And it's changed my life. The last 3 years has changed my life.
Yeah. Yeah, in a very positive way.
In an incredibly positive way.
Yeah,
like,
I was just saying,
like
an extremely positive way.
Yeah, it feels like a higher power's
got
control of this.
And you guys are doing such a good job. And obviously, the Everyday GSD podcast is one of the sponsors when you guys do some pretty big events. We're excited for the next big one is in June.
Rock and Ride for Hope, June 7th.
June 7th.
And
put that out there too, June 7th.
And I'm going to do a brain fart and not be able to name all the bands that are playing, but I think
it's fine.
But we have a poster out. We'll put that on there. And but Tommy's headlining, kind of keep helping.
And you guys are doing that at the big Harley Davidson
June
dealership?
7th.
Because they're big supporters of you guys.
Yeah, they
have a great facility.
Oh, they've been awesome because they don't expect anything in return, kind of a deal. So,
but I bet they've sold a couple bikes.
I'm sure they have,
because I know a few people that have been there. And one guy from the VFW actually was, while he was at the event,
went in and bought one.
He went in and bought one.
Yeah. He got to ring the bell.
He did.
Yeah, and he literally, and I don't want to, because typically people who buy a Harley, they want to change this, change that, get it ready, and then I'll come buy it. One of those deals. It was right off the floor, exactly everything he wanted. And he was like, "That's the one I want." They're like, "All right, well, come back on, Monday." He's like, "Nah, I'm ready right now." Yeah, that's
awesome.
And he was there to, support Building a Refuge.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I mean, all the people I met by doing the podcast stuff, and the event stuff, crazy, man. I mean, it's, I don't know. It's like a brotherhood. It's a.
And you're one of the founders of Building a Refuge, no?
No, they founded in 2018. I just kind of came in and put the turbocharger into the chassis.
I would agree with that.
And it's been a pretty wild ride.
What's the event they do at the VFW? And I should know. It's like
the Luau's this weekend, I think.
It'll be already passed by the time this is out. But no, that's fine. But the luau, I forgot about the luau. But then they do it it's not a barbecue, but it's for chicken. They call it something
chicken Q. Yeah,
chicken Q.
Yeah, we do bands and
and
I think we split whatever we earn our raise with the VFW.
Yeah, you guys do.
Yeah.
Yeah, big supporters of the VFW, and obviously VFW is big supporters of Building Refuge. Because
Great
obviously,
partnership.
because obviously men's mental health, any mental health is a serious issue. But when people can't talk about it, and that's when the problems get worse, and next thing you know, then we have tragedy in our hands. When if we can somehow prevent that by even able to communicate or sharing a story that maybe that touches someone, or it puts them in a position that says, you know what, that's similar to what's happening to me. I need to reach out to Clark or whomever.
Yeah, we've had a lot of veterans on.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's got a tragic story, man.
Yeah, everyone has a story,
and it's awesome to hear them. Like that's the reason I don't care what vehicle. I guess it could be soon to be legends or whatever. I just like hearing human stories.
Right. Well, and storytelling's been around for a bazillion years.
Yeah.
Before people were writing.
And now we get to kind of make them look cool with our fancy videos, and I like making them, light them up and look them pretty.
Yeah.
And, put a little more extra effort into it.
Yeah.
Anybody else is doing.
Well, and I think the cool thing about LDR Studios is you have all the equipment and you have the brain power and the skill set to do that. As opposed, if you were to just go hire an outside studio, they don't have the same passion you guys have, or you specifically, because they're not. Well, they didn't have the same tragedy you did. Maybe they have similar, but you're there in it.
Yeah. Well, and there's a lot of tragedies that people can find comparisons in. I mean, it might not be me. It might be Brandon's story, or Patrick, who had to overcome heroin. His story might relate to somebody going through that kind of stuff. And I think overall it just helps sharing stories of overcoming life's bullshit,
Yeah. And if you can do it together as a team,
yeah,
it's a lot easier.
Yeah. It's a community. So we're all kind of in it together.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah. Sitting in your basement, having drinks by yourself, being sorry or sad is not productive for anyone.
No.
If you can come out and be in the sunlight and talk to individuals that have been through similar situations as your story, then they're being helped.
Yeah, I think it was important for me to teach my kids, and what I did is every day. Yeah. Fuck.
It's all right, man.
Sorry.
No, don't be sorry.
I mean, to put your feet on your floor every day, to prove to my kids that you got to move forward.
Right.
No matter what.
Yeah. 100%.
Sorry.
Don't be sorry.
Anyway,
it's good to be able to be emotional, and you guys say that actually on Building Refuge,
and my kids have all been through the same tragedy, and they're in different parts of their life, how they're dealing with it. But Mark's probably going to graduate this year, so my last one is like kind of overcome.
He's almost 18,
but he's that same mentality. By me, just I think putting my feet on the floor,
right?
Overcame being behind in credits and made it to graduate this year with his class.
Yeah, it's awesome. And that's him pushing forward and you being behind him saying you can do it.
Yeah. And
right.
I mean, a lot of me wanted to stay in bed and not get out of, not put my feet on the floor.
But something told you that you needed to.
I had to.
That was the everyday GSD in you that says, you know what? I'm not going to just sit here and let this stop me.
And it was to finish the mission before I met the guy that told me I should finish the mission.
Right. And that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, being emotional when you're sharing a story. I mean, we've had some very emotional stories on EveryDayGSD Podcast, so I get what you're saying, but the Building a Refuge is a whole different animal. And when you guys can share stories and you can sit here and get emotional sharing your story, I mean, that's what it's about, right? Everyone's like, oh, I don't want to, you were apologizing, like, sorry, I'm getting emotional. I was like,
I call it your authentic self.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're one of the most authentic guys I know. I said this to someone recently about you, and this is a compliment, but you might take it as something different. But I was like,
my ass looks fat in these jeans.
No, I was making a comment because you've helped the Everyday GSD podcast several times, and you bailed me out on an episode that, again, one time Justin wasn't able to make it. It was a last minute cancellation. It had a family issue, but you always are giving. You're always giving. You're always giving, and that's your nature, and that's how your love language, or you feel good by helping other people. And I think that's amazing, because my comment to someone the other day was, well, I don't like when I see you being extremely good to someone that they're taking advantage of it. And obviously that doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen. We all have people in our lives that have taken advantage of us. But the thing that we can learn from that is we keep giving, and we keep sharing. And you know what? If that individual, whomever that person is, he or she, you know what? They'll figure it out.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, that's just the way it is.
The Dalai Lama says, if you're here to help people, and if you don't help them, then just don't hurt them. That's kind of a print.
And that's another reel. I love saying that. I know Alyssa or you or any of the post-production people, when they say that, like, we know. But that's
I've seen a Dalai Lama like 5 times, and that dude's a badass. He's just got like so much knowledge.
Well, let's talk about that. I need to tie my shoe here.
He's good stuff, man. Practical thinking. It's called logic.
Yeah.
And he's got a lot of it.
So you really did.
Yeah. I went down when they opened, like they did a big, on Bloomington campus, did a opening, and he was there speaking, and it's a pretty wild experience.
Oh, I can imagine. Tell me something about it.
Well,
you can't just drop that in there. I saw the Dalai Lama 5 times. Like, seriously? We just went from all the air in the room got taken out.
It's the wisdom of it to being a gentler, kinder, more understanding human being. The principles of, I'm a Christian, but it's a principles of Buddhism.
Yeah,
you're here to help people,
right?
And
so we had a guy on the show years ago, or not? Yeah, say years ago, a few seasons, Gary, and he said, if everyone and we haven't said this in a while, but if everyone just helped one person, the world would be a better place.
Oh, for sure.
And if you think about that, when he first said that, I was like, it's so cheesy. But then immediately I went from so cheesy to, oh my God, I just listened. I had to listen to what he said instead of me thinking about what I was going to say next. I stopped and listened. And if everyone just helped one person, that means if everyone helped one person, there'd always be someone being helped. And then the world would just be a better place. I mean, it's literally that simple.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, right?
We got a lot of, not everybody likes to be happy, man.
Yeah, I know.
It's a problem.
There's people that literally are 100% opposite of you. You're always like happy. You're trying to help people. You're trying to do good things. I've never reached out to you or Justin reached out to you and asked something needed something, or you were like, yeah, no, I can figure it out. I'll make it work.
Yeah.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah.
That's what we're here for, man.
That's what we're here for, and I love it. Okay, so we've been at this a little while. I've got some audience questions, but before we get into the audience questions, we've got a few of them, some really good ones. I was just looking at them. Do you have anything else that you want to share that in your journey that we might have not touched on? I know we talked about Building Refuge, talked about Tommy Baldwin Project, talked about the next concert coming out. I know you got the record coming out. You got the awesome LDR Studios. So, and by the way, if anyone happens to be in Indiana or the Midwest, make a trip to LDR Studios, reach out to Clark. You have to go see this. If you're trying to film anything or do any kind of recordings, this is the place to be. And I'm not doing it. I'm not trying to give him a shout out just because he's sitting in front of me. I say this shit all the time. It is one of the coolest studios that has so much different cool stuff in it. Like your green room, green space, I don't know what you call it, is like amazing. There's just so much cool stuff. So please, if you have anything that you want to do, a photo shoot, product knowledge, anything.
Yeah, we do it all.
You do it all.
You do it all.
Yeah, and a lot of times when you look at studios that do it all, they don't do any of it good because they're kind of like they've spread themselves too thin, which is the absolute opposite of you and LDR Studios, because you being the founder of this beautiful organization, this beautiful company, you've built it one step at a time, so you've mastered each one. And so that's my plug for LDR Studios, because I can tell you, I mean, it's legit badass. And Justin, you can concur with that?
Oh, yeah. It's the first place I go.
Yeah. 100%. Okay, so you want to add anything before we jump into the audience questions?
No, man. Let's get right into these questions.
Here we go. Okay, let's go with the first one. Clark, you've worn a lot of hats. Builder, jet ski racer, filmmaker, entrepreneur. Looking back, was there a single moment or experience that pushed you toward funding LDR Studios and turning creativity into your full-time career? Ooh, good question.
Oh, the collapse of the home building industry forced me to kind of reinvent
So
myself.
Tragedy.
Yeah.
Well, I say tragedy.
But it was.
Unfortunate times.
I mean, a lot of people,
Yeah, it was tragic.
it hurt people. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And then, so you go to reinvent yourself. I've always been a photographer. I think I've taken some pictures of a band called Picture Yes. Back,
yeah, there we go.
There we go. And you know, I didn't want to add this in, and I did not talk about it earlier. Also, Clark, you're a big supporter of Sweep Away Cancer, which is a charity that myself and a couple other people actually from Tennessee, Nashville area, Tommy Nelms being one of them, Mark Stoner, founded. Sweep Away Cancer is an organization that helps individuals that are affected by cancer, and we raise money and then we give specific grants to them, $500 up to a few $1,000s to help them either pay their rent, food bills, something to alleviate a little bit of the stress and pain. Man. And I do want to say thank you. And I meant to mention this earlier when we were talking about your other charities that you work with, but you've been a big help in some of the big events that we've done here locally. And we do events around the country, but this one in Indianapolis or in Carmel is one of the largest money makers that we bring in. Last year, I think we raised almost $45,000 in one night.
When is this year's one?
Yeah, it'll be in June. Okay. Yeah, I think it's June 12th. Tickets.
There I go. I've got a plug in.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, no, it'll be good, and we've got some really cool auction stuff, and you've helped out with that, and some of that was last minute, but anyway, that's going to be a good event. So I do want to say thank you for that.
Yeah, no problem. Man.
You specifically and LDR Studios have been a big part of helping raise thousands of dollars and all the money, 100% of the money, with this exception of credit card fees, and go to help individuals. So awesome.
Good stuff.
Okay, next question. This is a really good one. You describe yourself and your team as a long distance runner in the creative world. How do you keep that marathon mindset when focusing creative blocks or burnout?
Oh, damn.
When facing creative blocks or burnout? Oh, God, that's a good question.
I mean, I think it's the same. The creative blocks are different because it's hard to get that back. But it's the same principle. You put your feet on the floor every day. I guess I go walk and listen to music and microdose on mushrooms is what I do.
Okay. Don't know if we should leave that in there or not, but hey, this is
it's legal now.
It's your world, man.
I mean, I'm just saying, like,
okay,
therapy.
Yeah,
that was my therapy.
Walk it out, talk through it. Okay.
I mean, it's just, you got to do it. Finish the mission thing. It's like you started it, you can't not finish. Okay. Why are you starting it if you're not finishing? It's that whole finish the mission thing. Like,
finish the mission. I think if anything, this episode might be finish the mission. Seriously, I love this.
I mean, it's just,
Yeah. Okay, next question. Let me see. We've got, I think, 2 more good ones. Ready? You've launched everything from home building companies to music platforms and podcast series. What's the biggest lesson you've learned from starting and scaling so many different ventures?
Oh, well, never burn a bridge.
That's it. I love it.
Because I've had some disagreements with other creative people, and they've left and they've come back and helped me do another project. So I would say that's the biggest one. Like,
don't burn a bridge.
Don't beef on people just because you're not working together anymore,
Right. And then, unfortunately, there's a lot of people out there that that's a lesson they'll just never learn.
For sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the last one. Let me see. Ooh. You've been chasing adrenaline since the 80s. Jet skis, snowboarding, launching businesses. Do you think your risk-taking spirit gives you an edge creatively, or it has ever backfired on you?
No, I think it is giving me an edge creatively because I think I'm not afraid to venture off the path and go into the woods. That's kind of a mindset, I think.
Yeah.
Take take the leap of faith, invest in yourself. Because every dime I've made, like in the last 5 years, I put straight back in there. And I've got other avenue streams, but I haven't taken a dime unless somebody pays me cash, and
Right.
cut this out.
Yeah. I know
I stick it in my pocket.
Yeah. We're not cutting that out. No, it's called America. That's called America.
Anyhow,
Yeah.
He
does take Bitcoin too.
I like Bitcoin. I don't know.
No, that makes sense. Lastly, this is not a question for the audience. This is the end of the show. I've got a little gift for you here because you're an everyday GSer. But before I hand this over to you, I do have one last question. If you can give one bit of advice, and I don't care if it's something you've said 15 times on the show right now, it doesn't matter. If you can give one ending advice to the audience that will help them become better everyday GSDers, what's your advice?
Believe in yourself and finish the mission.
Believe in yourself and finish the mission.
Yeah.
Clark, you're an awesome man. I appreciate you. I appreciate your friendship. Thank you for being on the show. I'm looking forward to doing other projects with you. I know we have a lot of good stuff coming on, and I know everyone's going to be excited to go see Tommy, the release on the 30th. We got some events coming up in June. We got a lot of good stuff coming on.
Pacers Plaza the night before the race as well.
Pacers Plaza the night before the race, and the race is on Sunday, 25th this year. Yep. Yeah. Okay, awesome, Clark. Thank you for being on the show. Here's a T-shirt, Everyday GSD shirt, and you definitely have deserved it, earned it, and you will wear it with pride, brother. Thank you very much. Thanks for being on the show.
All right, peace, bro.